Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. Just ahead of the big 2024 battle and with Tamil Nadu voting in phase 1 on April 19, the central government has bowled a googly of sorts on the DMK-Congress combined in power in the state. A huge political war over a small island called Katchatheevu, about 1.9 square kilometers in size only, located between Sri Lanka and India. And this political war has now erupted of the charges the BJP has made. Over the last few years, as an increasing number of Indian fishermen have been arrested by the Sri Lankan Navy here, but the reason it is in news is because of an RTI reply that has put Congress, Nehru and Indira governments at the centre and Karunanidhi's DMK government in Tamil Nadu in the dock for giving up, allegedly, the claim to this island for reasons that seem flimsy at best. The Prime Minister has led this attack from the front on social media and also while campaigning in Uttar Pradesh. Prime Minister Modi twice called out Congress for callously giving away the island to Sri Lanka in 1974. Now, the Congress and the DMK have called it desperate diversionary tactics of the BJP, questioning the timing of the attack that has been mounted, but they haven't quite explained why the governments of theirs of the time took the call that they did. Is this another attack over national territorial integrity and safety that can resonate with the public of Tamil Nadu? Mind you, tough foreign diplomacy and a huge departure from the times of Nehru has been a hallmark of Modi government 2.0. And has this attack managed to put the DMK and the Congress on the back foot just ahead of phase 1? We'll take that question to our guests in just a bit. Let me just break down the highlights of the RTI document on Katchatheevu Island that will bring some perspective on the position that was taken by the earlier government. So, minutes of an informal consultative committee in 1968 acknowledges that this political status of the island has been a matter of controversy for over 50 years, but adds that Ceylon actually, which is erstwhile Sri Lanka, actually exercises de facto control. Now, this document also highlights how in 1961, Jawaharlal Nehru declared that he attaches no importance to the little island. He goes on to say that he would not hesitate to give up the claim on the island, that he doesn't like such matters pending indefinitely and being raised in Parliament again and again. But he also goes on to say, and I quote from this note on 10/5/1961, it is true that with the present conditions in Ceylon as they are, this is not the right time to raise this matter further with them. And the conditions were that there was internal disturbances in Ceylon at that time. Now, another note of Y.D. Gundevia, who was Foreign Secretary under Jawaharlal Nehru and Lal Bahadur Shastri, shows how he told the government of the day in 1961 that he would not risk giving up the island given the present climate himself. He also called this island an uninhabited little cluster of rocks and sand with the ruins of a Christian church on it, and an island that is not really important to anybody except sometimes as a refuge for fishermen and illicit immigrants. So this was the view, larger view of the bureaucracy and the government of the time. Finally, the DMK is also singed with this RTI because it shows how then Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Karunanidhi in 1974 supported the Indian government's decision to give up the claim. He goes on to, there is a note prepared by a bureaucrat that talks about a meeting with the Chief Minister who hinted that he was inclined to accept the suggested solution. His difficulty was, however, he could not take the opposition into confidence without sharing with them the knowledge about the oil strike and convince it about the need to accept the compromise. And the Chief Minister had inquired whether the PM has done so. Interestingly though, this note says that the Chief Minister, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, also said that he could not be expected to take a public stand in favor of this decision by the central government due to politics. But the Chief Minister assured the Foreign Secretary that he will help keep the reactions at a low key and would not allow it to be played up. Now, these are the reactions that are coming back to haunt these two parties. So, here's a chronology of how the claim over the island was given up and why. As I mentioned, by 1960-61, Jawaharlal Nehru had played down the issue. In 1960, the MEA though acknowledged that there were legal complexities over the island's sovereignty. In 1961, the AG of the country believed that India actually had a stronger case based on historical rights. But as we know, by 1974, after years of negotiations, decision was made to relinquish the claim. Indira government decided to cede control of the islands to Sri Lanka, and this was formalized through the Indo-SL Maritime Agreement with her counterpart Bandaraike of the time. Now, several questions arise on why India didn't fight harder. After all, while the scale of the island may be unimportant, its location was certainly key. So this is an uninhabited offshore island in Park Strait. The marine resources, the fishing opportunities are key for Indians. It effectively forms a boundary between India and Sri Lanka and therefore could have been important. And what was the need to give up the claim so easily is the question. It lies northeast of Rameshwaram as well. As you know, we've highlighted that it has its own cultural and religious significance, but that significance was derided at that time. It's just 33 kilometers from the Indian coastline. And by comparison, it's actually double the distance from the northern tip of Sri Lanka. So actually was much closer to India than to Sri Lanka. Then what was the need to give up the claim, particularly because there was a long history and some believed India had a stronger claim historically as well. Now, political showdown has also, as I mentioned, erupted, and this is happening just ahead of phase 1 voting of the 2024 elections where Tamil Nadu goes to polls. Let me break down where all three sides are. So the Prime Minister, as I mentioned, is leading this attack, and he has said that the Congress cannot be trusted because in past it callously gave away this island to Sri Lanka. Remember, Congress's foreign policy faux pas, particularly under Pandit Nehru, have been something that the BJP has attacked for a very long time. The Congress has reacted to it, calling it selective pieces of propaganda and desperation before elections, while the DMK is asking why did it take 10 years for the BJP that has been in power at the centre to raise this finally. The BJP went on to say that the Katchatheevu island was suffering due to Congress's deliberate negligence since it gave up the claim. The Congress says BJP statements are baseless, adding that they were made without references, while Stalin, the DMK Supremo and the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu has questioned this as a diversionary tactic of the BJP. He asked, in the 10 years at the centre, why was there no special scheme for Tamil Nadu? That's the real issue, is what the DMK chief is trying to suggest. Now, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar made a huge claim that in 20 years, over 6,000 fishermen were detained by Sri Lanka and over 1,000 fishing vessels have been seized. Imagine the scenario. Basically, he's saying if this island was in India's control. Congress, meanwhile, accused the Prime Minister of giving a clean chit to China after Galwan tragedy where 20 of our soldiers died. While DMK spokesperson Manuraj S. attacked the BJP, calling it a woeful and outdated political campaign issue, not something that they feel will resonate with the voter. Well, that indeed is the question we ask. Has the BJP and the central government, led by the Prime Minister, the Foreign Affairs Minister in this case, managed to put the Congress and the DMK on the back foot with this issue?
तमिलनाडु से आगे श्रीलंका के पहले एक टापू किसने किसी दूसरे देश को दे दिया? कौन था उस समय? श्रीमती इंदिरा गांधी के नेतृत्व में हुआ.
He says my honorable friend from the DMK was just now talking about Katchatheevu, the island. It appears to me that the DMK thinks that probably they can desperately cling to this issue and survive in Tamil Nadu.
When people are rejecting them again. They want diversionary tactics. Their discrimination towards Tamil Nadu is well known.
We were never in favor of that giving away Katchatheevu to Sri Lanka. In 1974, it is not the question. The question of giving away Katchatheevu did not arise.
All right, let's go across to our guest joining us. Syed Zafar Islam is national spokesperson of the BJP. I'm also joined by Muralidharan Sivalingam. He's a political analyst, leans towards the DMK. SV Ramani, spokesperson of the Congress, is with us. Deepak Vora, former diplomat, with us as well. I do thank you for your time. Muralidharan Sivalingam, let me start with you. The DMK has for a very long time been projecting as if they were opposed to this decision of giving up the claim, and they have raised it from time to time. Don't you think this RTI reply kind of exposes the duplicitous stand of the DMK? Because in public they said one thing, while their party patriarch said another thing.
Shivani, I'm a little surprised that you still believe in RTI. In the last 10 years, that's been completely diluted. So the replies don't stand anymore, and it's just another paper. And let me
but
come
the
back and
replies are
answer.
correct? No, are the replies factual or not?
Say, today in the Arunachal, China has renamed some of the locations, 30-odd locations. We have no answer. In Sri Lanka, China is building a deep port, seaport, and another airport. We have no answer. And you want to talk about 1974 Katchatheevu, which Tamilians themselves don't remember what happened during it. In fact, Mr. Annamalai was not born at that time. I'll tell you about Katchatheevu. Katchatheevu was an island which was predominantly a Catholic island of converts. Okay, that's probably one reason why BJP want to invoke Katchatheevu. Another reason I'll tell you, in 2008, it was Jayalalitha who went to Supreme Court and filed a writ saying that it needs to be revived. At that time, I think the senior counsel was Mr. Mukul Rohatgi, and he told the center, if at all you want to retrieve Katchatheevu, you'll have to go to International Court of Justice or you have to go to war in Sri Lanka. Because that was a diplomatic decision taken at that point of time by Miss Indira Gandhi, who was much shrewder
supported by
than Mr. Modi.
Karunanidhi at that time.
Yes, he was the local chief minister. But Mr. Indira Gandhi is the one who took the decision, because this
No, the question I asked you, fair enough, the history I've outlined, and I'm not denying you could have a slightly different perspective to it as well. The question I asked you was this, that actually DMK has in subsequent years, post 1974, raised the issue of this island as if they were opposed to the claim being given up. Is that then not duplicitous when your own chief minister signed off on it? And he actually sheepishly concedes that politically he cannot be seen as supporting this decision. That's the duplicity I'm talking about.
No, because it's wrong. Because DMK or ADMK, state chief minister, has no say in such issues. It's the center which decides. Center decides what is good for the country.
But did he politically oppose it or support it?
You will have to propose it or support this. When NEET came, you believe me, it was DMK who was the associate of Congress, so they had to support it. It's similarly like that. So when the state has no role,
so then why did it act like it was opposed to the decision later? Was it not for public sentiment? That's what I'm asking you. If it is real politic, then accept that it's real politic. But then don't raise it as DMK has.
I don't think so. It is only after the fishermen started having problem, both the state chief minister, earlier it was Jayalalitha, and later Mr. Stalin took up the issue. There's nothing wrong in it. Probably, its issues have, come out now. Earlier, it was not a great issue. It was like, fishermen.
I want to go across to the Congress party as well. SV Ramani of the Congress is joining us. The other question that, the Congress faces, because yes, ultimately, this is a diplomatic decision. It's about Indian territorial integrity and falls in the domain of the central government of the time. Now, the charge the Congress governments of the years have faced, particularly from the times of Nehru, is that he had scant regard for territorial integrity. You look at what he said for Aksai Chin. You look at what his government or subsequent governments are saying for even this island. But strategically, these are all bordering India, and they should have been extremely important for India. These are foreign affairs blunders. That's what the charge against the Congress is.
Now, I want you to give me a few minutes without disturbing so that...
I'll give you some 1.5 minutes for your opening intervention.
No, you cannot do that. You cannot make a charge for 20 minutes and then say that I'll give
No, we haven't made a charge for 20 minutes. 1.5 minutes, please.
Please listen to me.
Yes.
Now, as far as your title is concerned, seeding, that itself is wrong because there was no seeding. As per the 27th January 2015, in which at that time when Mr. Modi was the Prime Minister, to an RTI which was replied by the government at that time, it very clearly says this agreement did not involve either acquiring or ceding of territory for belonging to India. Now, this is a document which has been provided by this government, number one. So, please change your title. There was no ceding as per the BJP government. Number two, now BJP directly or indirectly has been in power between 77 and 80. Then between 2008 to 2004, and then 2004 to 2024. That means 10 plus 6 plus 3, 19 years they have been in power after the agreement was signed. Now, why did not they raise this issue if they felt so much for the fishermen? Why did this Prime Minister, who has been a Prime Minister for 10 years, did not raise this issue and did not even know that such an issue exists? It is very unfortunate. It is very unfortunate. It is very unfortunate that an IPS officer who has studied IPS, who has passed IPS and who has become a IPS officer in Karnataka did not know about Katchatheevu till the RTA was raised. He didn't know for 45 years of his
As your partner just said, he wasn't even born then. It's okay, you can give him a little bit of a leeway. But that's not the point. One second, that's not the point. It is India's institutional knowledge and memory that is coming back possibly to haunt the DMK and the Congress. I'll take your point about... One second. Sir, 1 second. I don't want to speak over you. 1 second.
Come back to the Prime Minister.
1 second, sir. I don't want to speak over you. You are saying... One second. I'll take your objection. Mr. Ramani, one by one, please listen to me. I'll give you the opportunity.
Why this memory did not come back in the...
Yes, I'll take that objection. If that is your only objection, I'll take that to the BJP spokesperson. But I reiterate my question. What the impact of this revelation is, as belated as it may be, yes, you could argue the BJP is raising for political reasons too. It is a political party. But the impact is that the Congress, particularly led by the Nehru in the post-independence era, was very flimsy on giving up territorial claims, if not the territory outright. That's the impression. Yes.
Agreements between governments on territories is nothing new. Like what happened in 74 between Srimao Bandaranayake and Prime Minister Indira Gandhi at that time was an agreement for negotiation of the international border. At that time, there was also another issue concerning 6 lakhs Tamil refugees who were suffering in Sri Lanka. So when the lines were drawn, it is very clear, and the RTI also very clearly says that I have that RTI, I can send it to you. It says that it did not involve and the area in question had never been demarcated. So
yes, in fact, the RTI that I am talking about also says that Ceylon had de facto control over this island.
Listen to me. You have to listen to facts.
One second. But I am asking you the reasons given. The reasons given to give up the claim. They include things like Jawaharlal Nehru saying, I have little regard or I attach little importance to this particular piece of land. A bureaucrat is saying that, it's just basically rocks and nothing else. Are the reasons given right, given that this could have been a southernmost tip of India?
No, it is not in the southernmost tip of India.
It could have formed the border between India and Sri Lanka. But are the reasons given?
One more point I would like to highlight is, in the Article 5 of the agreement itself I am referring to. The agreement itself, it says that subject to foregoing, Indian fishermen and pilgrims will enjoy access to the Katchatheevu as hitherto and will not be required by Sri Lanka to obtain travel documents. Even this has been a part of that agreement. So that thing was given up. The demarcation was done. It was found that the island lies on the other part of Sri Lanka, the other side of the line of Sri Lanka, and then Indian fishermen were protected, Indian pilgrimages were protected, and at the same time, 6 lakhs refugees who were suffering in Sri Lanka were given access to Tamil Nadu, access to India, and that was the major victory won by Mrs. Indira Gandhi, which gave a life of respect and which a life of dignity to the people.
Okay, I need to go across to the BJP spokesperson now. Please respond. That sir, 1 second. Just hold on. I have limited time. Syed Zafar Islam, the BJP, one, is raising this with an eye on politics or elections. Secondly, you're making such a hue and cry about this when at that time there were other nuances involved to why India may have decided to give up the claim.
See, there are two things which you need to understand. What is the objective of the press conference which has been done by the Honorable Minister Jaishankar ji?
Yes.
He very clearly articulated it that he wants the nation to know that how did the government at that time, the then government, gave up and ceded our land, which they could have easily fought with Sri Lanka, but they felt that it's a piece of rock, it's an island which is of no importance to the nation, something which was totally unwarranted. The argument given at that point by the earlier Prime Minister, Mr. Nehru, and then the then Prime Minister, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, actually ceded this land without thinking about the impact and without the concern of the fishermen. Nowhere in the document what the Congress spokesperson was talking about, nowhere in the official document was even mentioned about that they are protecting the life of the fishermen or giving the freedom to 6,000 people.
If he doesn't know about it, he should not talk about it. He should have the document in his hand and then talk about it.
Let me just complete. But everywhere it is highlighted that it is we have the claim on that land and we should not give up the claim, but still they went ahead and gave up this
the
claim.
Congress's charges, Mr. Islam, the Congress's charges that you are picking and choosing, you are cherry picking the understanding of the government of the day on this issue. You are not also highlighting that they did in fact in the agreement took care of the fishermen and the pilgrims.
Perfect.
See, the issue is, which we are highlighting, that there are two anti-national parties. Anti-national in the sense they have always compromised with the national interests. Both DMK and Congress party. We have repeatedly spoken about the. Shut up your mouth. Shut up. I didn't interrupt you. I heard you for 25 minutes, 20 minutes. I'm not here to listen to your lecture.
But you are lying.
No, I'm not here to listen to your lecture. Please keep your mouth shut. When you were speaking. When you were speaking, I didn't interrupt you. Please speak when your turn will come. I'm not lying. I'm narrating the truth.
Okay, one by one, please. Please don't speak over each other. I shall have to say this or do this. One second, can I just have Mr. Islam with me?
You are telling lies.
Mr. Islam, 30 seconds, please respond. Are you cherry picking the facts or the circumstances of the time?
Not at all. No, not at all. Since this issue was raised, I think it was important for the people of this great country to know that how did they compromise with the national interest.
Why
Both
now?
Congress party, DMK was conniving with Congress party, and today Congress party is talking about the national interest. In fact, they are the one who has actually compromised with the national interest. This is what we wanted to let the people
why
of
now?
this great
Why
country
now?
know.
Why not in the last 10 years when you were in power?
See, whenever the issue will come up, it will be discussed. It has no relation with the election, it has no election
Come
has
on,
no
that's
relevance
a bit
here.
much.
It is not with the intent of the election.
I would have accepted it if you
No,
had
that
said
is-
yes.
that is nothing to do with the election.
We are want to raise it in times of election
But,
for the public. Don't say it has nothing to do with elections.
It is nothing to do with election, but it is an important issue for the nation, and it is important for the people. When the RTI, somebody asks for the information, and when the information is in public domain, it is must. It is important for the people to know what is the what.
Let me
what
go
was
across
done
to
at
the
that point in
bureaucrat
time.
on
What
the
was
panel,
What was
the
the consideration?
diplomat.
Why they have not given priority and importance the national interest? Why they have compromised with the national interest? Something people of India should know.
I want to go across
highlighted.
to Mr. Vora as well. Mr. Vora, can India as a country look back at this agreement and the way it transpired and say, okay, maybe we put forward a wrong step and maybe we could have fought a little bit more? Are there those learnings as part of this?
Thank you very much, Ms. Gupta. May I compliment you? You're brilliant. I've just heard your exposition. You put it across better than anybody else could. I will not comment on what my colleagues from political parties are saying. We are not trained to do that. But let me give you the domestic and the international ramifications of what happened. Ma'am, there is a decision by the Supreme Court, and I'm sure that our colleagues are aware of this, that territory cannot be ceded by a government without reference to Parliament. This happened in 1960 when we wanted to give some Berubari property, some territory to Pakistan, and Supreme Court came down very heavily. Then we had to go to Parliament, and there was a constitutional amendment, I think the 9th Amendment. They've made it very clear. In the case of Katchatheevu, ma'am, it was not referred to the people of India or to the Parliament of India. So prima facie, it's an illegal decision by whichever government was that. We are not concerned with that. Now, as far as cession of territory is concerned, 1933, there's a Montevideo Convention, although it applied mainly to American states, but it's been quoted often enough. That also says when one country willingly cedes territory to another, it has to be ratified by the constitutional authority of that country. That was not done in the case of Katchatheevu. So both domestically as well as internationally, the handing over of that island, however small, however big, was illegal and can be reversed under international law. This is the diplomatic position. So if India is raising this issue and says, all right, we want to renegotiate this, everybody has done that. Ma'am, the United States, purchased Louisiana from France and Gadsden from France, all ratified by the ceding country. And by the way, Pakistan also purchased Gwadar from Oman. It was ratified by whichever was the constitutional authority in Oman at that point in time.
But otherwise, foreign policy-wise, are you surprised that some of the arguments given to give up the claim were what they were? Because that's really the bone of contention.
No, not at all. At that point of time, it may not have been strategically important for us. But today, with China messing around in the Indian Ocean and misbehaving, as it always does, it is extremely important for us, because then there's an issue of territorial waters and so on. So my position is, and I tend to agree with our colleague from the BJP, he's put it across very succinctly, that if this was a mistake, it can be rectified. My personal opinion is we should not have done it. Ma'am, why in 1974? May I just very quickly remind you, this is the year we had the nuclear blast. The smaller countries around us, we had just smashed Pakistan in 1971. They were worried that they would be next. So we needed to reassure them. We had the agreement with Bangladesh in 1974. We talked to Bhutan in 1974, let's settle the issue. We had Katchatheevu, we were talking to Nepal. So we wanted to reassure all our neighbors that we had no ill intentions on their territory. That's the background.
Okay.
But can it be reversed? Yes.
It can be reversed. You very succinctly outlined the two illegalities involved, and I don't know whether the Indian government has the mind to take that to the international court. But the BJP as a party has asked the central government to do so. I have barely 2 minutes left. I'll give 30 seconds closing arguments to all of our panelists. Yes, Mr. Sivalingam, I'll come to you. Do you believe this can hurt the DMK? Would you concede it can hurt the DMK negatively? After all, Karunanidhi's stand comes to question.
I don't think so, Shivani. I don't think so, because people know what's the ground reality is. The ground reality is BJP trying to rake up this issue so that they can save some face from the flocking they're getting from China in Sri Lanka as well as Arunachal Pradesh.
Okay.
So this is all political gimmicks. It's not going to fly. In fact, post-elections, when the results come, we'll know what Tamil Nadu has voted for.
Okay, Mr. Ramani, your 30 seconds. Congress government's historical blunders coming to light again, and Congress not really explaining the decision making. It's the questioning the timing, but nothing else.
No, there is no historic blunder also, nor it was a clear-cut agreement. So, and as I have a lot of respect for Sri Horaji, that it was not a ceding, neither it was only a demarcating, which has been clearly brought out in the RTI. And thirdly, that umpteen efforts by Mr. Modi to lure the Tamil Nadu people to vote for him, he realized that, people in Tamil Nadu feel that BJP is anti-Tamil, anti-Tamil Nadu and anti-Tamil language. So he has not been able to cut ice here. So he is trying to rack up an issue just for political purposes. It's not going to work.
Okay.
Tamil Nadu is going to give him 0 as far as Lok Sabha elections are concerned.
Mr. Islam, I'll give you the final 30 seconds. The BJP is asking, both in Tamil Nadu and otherwise, its government to see what can be done. But have you also not woken up too late?
Well, Shivani ji, see, our approach is very, very clear. All our decision is only based on few things. First, nation first is our policy of our government, is the policy of our party. And there is something which we have now come to know and something which is important for the people to know. We must expose Congress. We must let the people of this great country to know how they have compromised with the national interest, how they have ceded the land, which
But
they could have easily
will you
fought
walk the
for.
talk? Will you
Third thing, which
actually
is-
try
which
to
is
reverse
very important.
this?
So let me tell you that, this issue has now been discussed. It is in the public domain. We will take the people's opinion, and if need be, the government of India will take appropriate action to
Okay.
whatever it deems fit as under the circumstances.
All right, I'll leave it at that. I do thank all of our guests for joining us for this spirited debate.